Well, the repair didn't hold. After a couple of seasons, it split along the JB weld and half of it fell off my shed. So I'm repairing it this time using KwikWeld, which sets up really fast. And then I'm going to hold it together with wires and then epoxy over the wires as well. You can see one wire up top, another inside. I've got 5 wires total, and I've reattached it with that KwikWeld, and now I'm going to put more KwikWeld over those wires on both sides. Got all the wires covered in KwikWeld now. And I'm going to put this block back in here and ensure it gets lined up with the hole on the other side. There's kind of a lot of volume I'm going to have to fill in here. So instead of using the JB weld, I'm going to use this Apoxie Sculpt. It's almost like modeling clay, but it hardens into epoxy. So I'm going to use the Dremel tool to rough up the surfaces around here before I put the Apoxie Sculpt on. So with this stuff, we mix it together wearing gloves because it's going to get super messy. I'm just going to knead it until I get the two, the hardening and the other material mixed into one consistent mass. This is a real hand workout, mixing this stuff, tearing it apart, and then squeezing it, rolling it a little bit, tearing it apart again. Keep doing this until I get it all a uniform black color. After it's all uniformly mixed, directions say to let it sit for 5 minutes before trying to apply it to the project. I'm putting Apoxie Sculpt back here to keep water from getting in and freeze thawing that seam again. This stuff flows a little bit, so you have to keep molding it in place where you want it. You can smooth it out like that. I've wrapped the Apoxie Sculpt around the bottom, so we've got it all the way around from the top, all the way around everywhere. Using a little bit of water helps to smooth this thing out, get all the imperfections out. Then it's going to set up in 24 hours and I'll do a light sand and paint it. Did some light sanding on the Apoxie Sculpt, and now it's time to paint. The paint turned out pretty well. Now I'm going to mask up the antlers and hit it with a couple coats of clear coat. Then I'll hang it on the shed. The skull has 3 coats of clear on it now. I only had gloss, and my wife rightly pointed out that it looks ridiculous and unnatural, so I'm going to use a sanding sponge and just buff it out a little bit to knock down some of that reflective glare. All finished. Hopefully it will last many more seasons on that shed.